Someone once said, and I quote, "If you tell me your thoughts, I will tell you what you do and who you are." So, were they right in saying that? Welcome back. This is TruthRewind on Mwanga Radio. So is it really true that we are a result of our thoughts? Proverbs 23:7 says, "As a man thinks in his heart, so he is." In our very last episode, I mentioned that the heart the Bible is talking about is not necessarily the organ that is encaged in between our ribs, but rather the center of all our physical activity. So whether bad or good activity, it all proceeds from within our hearts. And so does that answer the question of whether we are a result of our thoughts? And to that one, I would say yes. In fact, whoever came up with that quote of show me, or rather tell me your thoughts and I'll tell you what you do and who you are, must have read the Bible. I think they must have read the Bible. And Proverbs continues to tell us in chapter 4, verse 23, to guard our hearts with all diligence, for out of it flows the issues of life. So how do we do this? How do we do this guarding of our hearts, and why is it necessary? If you're a Christian, you must have heard of a guy called Noah, either through or from your Sunday school. And of course, the story of Noah is very common, especially among Sunday school literature. But before you get to the story of Noah and the flood, you realize that God gave a reason as to why he had intended to send the flood and, of course, destroy that generation or humanity at that particular point. So let's see what happened. In Genesis chapter 6, verse 5, Bible says that God saw that the wickedness of man was great on earth, and that every imagination or intent of the thoughts of his heart were only evil. And so you see the Bible talks about thoughts right there, and it also talks about the heart. And let me emphasize something, and of course, I have said this before. When your heart is evil or wicked, you become wicked. You will do only that which is evil. Your speech becomes profane. Your actions are automatically evil or sinful, of course, if you want to. So Jesus said that out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So it is what is housed in our hearts, or stored up in our hearts, that comes out through our mouths whenever we speak. So do you see now from, of course, that story of Noah, why our thought life is so important to God? In fact, it is so important that God he wiped out an entire generation, sparing only one family. That is the family of Noah, just because of the evil that was in their minds and in their hearts. Yes, of course, I know that you know that this is true. That before you do something, we tend to first think about it. Before we take any action, we have, or rather, it has to be preceded by a thought. Unless maybe one is crazy, you have to process something in your mind before you get to do it. And that is why God saw that the wickedness of these people in their hearts, because God is able to see our hearts. God is able to see everything, our intentions, the intentions of our hearts. God is able to see them. And I think this is why the Bible is saying that we ought to guard our hearts with all due diligence. Yeah, na bidii yako yote, like you just have to guard your heart with all due diligence, because from that heart, the issues of life flow. So how do we how do we guard our hearts? How do we do the guarding of our hearts? And number one thing that we will learn about is we meditate on the Word of God, or by meditating on the Word of God. Bible says in Romans chapter 12 that we should not conform to the patterns of the world, but be transformed rather by the renewing of our minds. And of course, this happens through the Word of God. What that means is that the Word of God is power, rather has power. And of course, it is actually in it by itself a power that has the potential to transform our lives. So when you study the Word of God, when you listen to the Word of God, when you meditate on the Word of God, it is actually reserved in your heart, and what happens is that it starts working from within you. It starts working on your heart, and when your heart is transformed, what follows is that your actions are transformed. So you become a better person, you become a changed person. Psalm 119 verse 9 says, "How shall a young man keep his ways pure?" And it gives us actually the answer to that. It says that it is only by, or simply by, walking according to the Word of God. The same book of Psalm 119 verse 11 continues to say, "I have hidden your word in my heart so that I may not sin against you." So I believe now from those few verses you can see why the Word of God is so important. It has the power, and I've said that it has a potential to transform our hearts. By hiding the Word of God in our hearts, it becomes a power and that transforms the heart. And so I'll urge you to please develop a habit of reading or studying the scriptures, and of course memorizing scriptures. This will change, or rather help get rid of evil thoughts, which of course translate into evil actions. Because once your thought life is shaped, your actions will automatically be good. Number two thing that we will do, or we can do, to guard our hearts is to filter the content that we consume. I have talked to many people, many young people, of course, about this. And this is what I have said before, that our eyes and ears, of course, serve as doors to our hearts. And what that means is that what you see, or what you watch, or what you listen to has the potential to affect the way you think, and it can either make you or destroy you. I have found that over time we form opinions or perceptions based on things we see and hear. And so please, the reason I'm saying that we need to filter is because if you consume content or stuff that is evil, that is dirty, that shapes your way of thinking. And so let me give you a practical example. I know we know soaps. One of the things I've over time realized or discovered, they tend to portray like a similar a storyline. You find a married man, has a child with his ex-girlfriend, and this man is dating. He has a girlfriend on the side, and at the same time he's a family man, like he has a family. And what that does to us is that we are lied to believe that this is okay, because when you look at that person, they seem to be successful. They seem to be happy, in life. And so what that does is that you're convinced that this is okay. But is that okay really? Like, is that what God desires, or is that the God's plan for marriage? Of course not. But you see, what happens is that when we get lied into rather lied to into thinking that this is okay. We form like an attitude towards marriage. And someone once said that attitudes form habits, and habits form character. And so what that will do is that by the time you're dating or and of course getting married, if you're not, you realize that your character will already have been formed or shaped in a particular way, and that character will be sick, and that is very dangerous. Of course, getting into a family setup or in a marriage relationship with that kind of a mindset. And so music too, just like movies or like videos, music too has its share on this. We have a genre in our country, we call it gengeton. I mean, there's just something wrong with this kind of music. Girls are portrayed as objects. For a party to happen, there has to be alcohol and girls and probably weed. So you can see where the girls are put. And what's even sad is that in some of these music videos, ni tudem hapo tunabanjuka tukiwa half naked, like they are twerking without clothes, and they think they are doing good. They think and they feel like they are doing the right thing. It is not okay. These videos lower their dignity and they demean them. So I believe that is something that is not good. So how do you guard your heart? Again, I repeat, by reading or listening to the Word of God and memorizing it. This changes what you think about, and of course, it changes your what you do, which of course in turn will change who you are as a person. And number two, how to guard our hearts. We do that by filtering the content that we consume. So what you watch, now repeat, what you watch has the potential. What you watch or what you listen to, and of course this also includes what you read, the books that you read, have the potential of influencing the way you think and act. And so I believe that's something that you should think about. And so thanks for watching. Look out for our next video, and please subscribe and share this with a friend.